Hey guys, so today we're going to work on the law of cosines, which will apply when we have an oblique triangle, which is a triangle with no right angles. And for law of sines, we use when we have a corresponding sided angle. So that means if you're given side A and angle A, or side B and angle B, or side C and angle C. But for law of cosines, you won't be given a corresponding side and angle. Rather, it should be about a side triangle or a side angle side triangle. So no corresponding side and angles. And as you see in the example I gave you, I wrote it out as I did in the law of sines, and you'll see that there's no corresponding side with angle given together. Now, there are 6 formulas here for the law of cosines. However, if you look at the side A here, all I'm doing is I'm taking this same formula. I'll move everything to the other side of the equal sign to get cosine of A by itself, and that'll be the angle formula. So that's really just 3 formulas, and they're just manipulated to get the angles on the other side. So for instance, if you look at side B's formula, if I move everything to the other side of the equal sign and just get cosine of B by itself, that would be angle B's formula. Same thing with C. And given the example here, I like to write it out. So in case you're a visual learner, I write it out as a triangle as well as, sides and angles represented together. So it really doesn't matter what you label angle A, angle B, angle C, just as long as side A is opposite of angle A, side B is opposite of angle B, and side C is opposite of angle C, which you note I've already written down. And from here, we're going to start solving the angles. However, which angle should I solve for first? So the rule of thumb is you always solve for the largest angle first. So the one that's going to be the largest angle is the one that's opposite of the largest side. So if you look at the given sides, B has the largest side of 19 feet. So that means I'm going to solve for angle B first. And using the law of cosines formula, I'm going to take cosine of B equals A squared plus C squared minus B squared all over 2AC. And I'm going to plug the values in. So that would give me 8 squared plus 14 squared minus 19 squared all over 2 times 8 times 14. So in the law of sines, I noted in module 6 that the biggest mistakes are usually the calculator ones. So I'm going to go over the calculations with you. I'm just working with a TI-30X, a basic scientific calculator. So in this case, we're going to solve the numerator first. So I'm going to type in 8 squared plus 14 squared minus 19 squared, and then press equal. And you should get negative 101. And notice that I put the entire denominator in one parentheses because we're not going to just divide by 2 times 8 times 14 when we punch it into the calculator, because otherwise it takes negative 101 and only divides by 2 and then divides the rest of the answer by 8 and 14. So because of that, I'm just going to reiterate, make sure that your entire denominator is in one parentheses when you plug it into the calculator. So I'm going to type in negative 101 divided by, in one parentheses, 2 times 8 times 14, close the parentheses, equals, and that should give me cosine B equals about negative, let me do an approximation, equal sign, negative 0.45, 089. So I don't want you to round this. I want you to keep that entire decimal. And how you're going to do that is don't press clear. We're just going to solve the rest of this with the calculator. So the goal is to get angle B by itself. The only thing that's stopping us is there's a cosine value here, or a cosine here. So to get rid of the cosine, you're going to inverse cosine. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So how would you put that into the calculator? So make sure you still have that whole decimal value from our previous answer, negative 101 divided by 2 times 8 times 14. That whole decimal value, make sure it's still in your calculator. You're going to press inverse cosine, which on a scientific calculator will be second cosine. And then you're going to type in second negative, which is on the bottom by the equal sign. And it should say answer, meaning it pulls up your previous decimal answer for you so that you don't have to type in the whole thing. And press equals, and you should get 116.8 degrees. The other thing I should have noted before you started is also make sure that your calculator is set in degrees and not radians for Module 5. So for angle B, we have 116.8 degrees. And then from here, once you find one of the angles, notice that now you have a corresponding side and angle. You have side B and angle B. So now we can use the law of sines. So now that we're going to use the law of sines, I'm going to set it equal to A over sine of A equals B over sine of B. And I'm going to plug in the values. 8 divided by the sine of A equals 19 over the sine of 116.8 degrees. And just like in the last video, just using proportions, cross multiply. So I have 8 times the sine of 116.8 degrees equals 19 times the sine of angle A. So first of all, I'm going to just work on getting sine of angle A by itself, and then after that, then I'll work on getting angle A by itself. So sine of angle A is being multiplied to 19, so I'm going to divide both sides by 19. And make sure that in your calculator, you press 8 times the sine of 116.8, press equals after the numerator, and then divide it by 19. Again, if you just press divide it by 19, it'll take that previous decimal answer for you. So this should give you about 0.3758. On and on and on, equals sine of A. Again, keep that whole decimal value, don't round it, keep the decimal value in your calculator. And the goal is to get angle A by itself. The only thing on the right side of the equal sign with angle A is the sine function. So to get rid of it, we inverse sine. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So we're going to press inverse sine, which is second sine. And then again, press second negative to pull up the previous decimal answer of that 0.3758, blah, blah, blah. So you don't have to punch the whole thing in manually. And that should give you an angle of 22.08 degrees. So 22.08 degrees is equal to angle A. So here we have 22.08 degrees, and notice we have 2 out of the 3 angles in a triangle. So once we have 2 out of the 3 angles in the triangle, remember your geometry, all 3 angles in a triangle will have a sum of 180 degrees. So if I write 22.08 degrees plus 116.8 degrees plus, sorry, I'm out of room, C equals 180. I'm going to add up 22.08 and 116.8, get the sum, and then move it to the other side, meaning subtract it from 180 degrees, and angle C should give me 41.12 degrees. All right, guys, I hope this helps.